Yes mate, how's it going, and welcome back to the channel. So today I thought I'd give my Premier League predictions for the 2020-21 season. I must be honest, I am a little bit late to this. Some teams have already played one game, some teams have already played two games. But you know what, since City have not actually played a game this season, well, by the time this video comes out, or by the time you've seen this, they definitely would have played Aston Villa, Wolves by now. But anyway, I'm just going to go straight into it. Better late than never, let's put it that way, and give my predictions for this season. If you are new, make sure to subscribe and turn on the post notifications as well, and also drop a like as well if you enjoy this. Let me know what you think of my prediction in the comment section down below, and let me know who you think will get relegated, make it to Europe, or maybe even win the title itself. But let's get straight into it at 20th with Fulham, a team which, to be fair to them, in the playoffs last season in the Championship, they were half decent. I can't remember, I think it was against Brentford. They did put in a good show, particularly Joe Byram, is it? Byram? I can't remember. But honestly, just looking at the team, there's not really much too solid, not really much going for them in the sense that they'll achieve security in the Premier League. As particularly, I think it was 3 seasons ago, of course they're in the Premier League, and they got relegated pretty much straight away, well, at the end of their first season back. And I feel as though the same will happen here, so I've got them in 20th. 19th, West Bromwich Albion. Again, just two teams this newly been promoted. Always look likely to get relegated, and I've put West Brom there, despite the fact that at first they did put in a good shift against Everton, but then of course Everton just blew them out of the water with a 5-2 win. And even though they just have signed Premier League and Champions League winner, I've completely forgot his name now. Alala used to play for Chelsea. Again, same thing with Fulham. Don't really see much, not really much going for them in terms of actually staying in the Premier League. So I put them in 19th. 18th, a team that just survived relegation off the skin of their teeth, Aston Villa. I see them just being clawed into the jaws of relegation, despite the fact, of course, last season they did sign about 15 or so players, and even with their captain, Jack Grealish, who's just signed a new 5-year deal, I just don't think that it's enough to really keep them in the Premier League, despite the fact they did splash the cash on, what was it, £33 million for Watkins, was it? Was it Watkins from Brentford City? So despite all that, I still feel they'll finish 18th. 17th is Brighton, a team which has consistently stayed in the Premier League, quite surprising to a lot of people. But I feel as though this will be the season where they'll just survive off the skin of their teeth, or maybe even get relegated. They haven't really signed anyone. There's not really much players within there. Apart from Ryan in goal, there's not really much players in there, which makes me think, yeah, they could survive comfortably in the Premier League. It's going to look very close for them, in my opinion. 16th, West Ham United. Despite the fact of how much talent they have actually got, West Ham did come close. They were even in the relegation at one point, but Mikel Antonio saved them numerous times. And I feel as though, just like Brighton, they will come close to the dreaded relegation spot. Who knows, they might even get relegated, which will be a huge shock. Because despite the fact they do have talent in like Fornals, Yarmolenko, Felipe Anderson, even Mikel Antonio, the defence, and even the goalkeeper don't really strike much confidence, I'd say, in probably many West Ham fans. I don't know, I'm not a West Ham fan myself. 15th, Southampton. Now, Southampton last season were not that bad. They did give us a good game, did put in a good performance against City last season. This season, who knows, in with the goal machine himself, Danny Ings, who did very nearly did get a golden boot last season. I still feel that they'll just be in that lower part of the table. Again, there's not really much solidity. Is that the word? Is that the right word? I'm sure that's the right word within their team. They did just sell Højbjerg to Tottenham Hotspurs. Quite a very crucial player. They've just got rid of him. So they could finish 15th. They could go up. They could go down. Who knows? 14th, though, is Crystal Palace. I mean, the game yesterday against Man United, that was just... I thought, you know what? With Man United, they've signed Van der Beek. It's pretty decent signing. 40 million quid, I think it was. I feel as though they'll give him a good game, even though Crystal Palace have just signed, what's his name, is it? I'm not even going to attempt his name. It's that young English lad from QPR. Despite the fact they have signed him, I still feel as though they could probably trickle down there in about 14th, 15th probably. Even though, like I said, they did give such a good game. I mean, 3-1 in the end. It's just unbelievable. Literally is unbelievable. But anyway, we're going to move on to 13th with Burnley. Now, Burnley is a team which hasn't really signed anyone, but I feel as though with Sean Dyche, he's a really, probably one of, if not the most underrated manager in the Premier League, in my opinion. mean, he took them to 5th at one point with their players that they have got. He took them into European football, and even though it was very short-lived, they do look like a mid-table team in my opinion. I don't really particularly see them going into relegation, but who knows? Who knows as to what will happen with them. 12th, Newcastle United, a team which, you know, is unfortunate to them a little bit. Is it really? Nah, it's not really that their financial takeover didn't really go through, even though there were a lot of Newcastle United fans who were demanding answers as to why it weren't happening and just wanting to see this happen, to try and push their club up to one day maybe even win a Premier League with all that money coming in. But of course, that did not happen. That's just an entirely different video in itself. Newcastle, a mid-table team in my opinion. 12 seems quite decent for them to be in that position, even though they did have signed some really good players in Callum Wilson, Ryan Fraser, Jamal Lewis, Hendrick from Burnley, a couple of relegated players, but I still feel that team looking at it is like, yeah, that's building up to be quite a decent attack, even with the quite out of form Joe Linton, £40 million that they did sign last season. I still feel that they could probably finish mid-table. Don't really see them dropping down, but then again, don't really see them going any higher than that. 11th, Sheffield United. I think last season they finished 9th. I feel as though people know what they're about, what kind of like style of play that Chris Wilder expects from his players. So I feel as though they might drop down a couple of places from last season, but still, just like Newcastle United, very much, and even Burnley, very much a mid-table team in my opinion. I don't think they have signed anyone in particular this season. Who knows, they might, or maybe Wilder is quite happy and satisfied with his players and his team. He might not actually go ahead and sign anyone. Moving into 10th with Leeds United. I'm fairly confident that Leeds United will do the same as what Wolves did when they were promoted 2 seasons ago, I think it was, and what Sheffield United did last season, in just surprising everyone. And I mean, the game against Liverpool, they probably could have easily got a draw out of that. They were so good, and it just showed that they're suited and just very much do deserve to be in the Premier League. And 10th seems probably a bit too high for a relegated team. I don't know, like, they are good. I mean, is it Bradford or Bradford? I can't remember. They're striker, number 9. He's a good quality young player, and I feel as though he would very much be a key player, as well as Calvin Phillips and Jack Harrison on loan from Manchester City. I feel as though that they could very much keep Leeds in 10th, maybe 9th or 8th. I mean, they definitely won't. I don't feel as though they'll get a look into European football, but who knows? I feel as though they can very much stay in 10th position in my opinion. On to 9th with Tottenham Hotspurs. Now, they just have signed Gareth Bale on loan. I mean, that is just crazy. 7 years later, and for him to be back in a place which, and I quote, that he said that it's nice to be in a place where he feels loved. That's probably a bit of a shots fired in Madrid, but to be fair, Madrid probably do deserve it with how badly he's been treated by Zidane, by the reporters there and everything, and by the fans as well. 9th place is probably, I don't know, like the game against Southampton. 4 goals for Son, 4 assists for Harry Kane. That alone is just deadly. So to introduce a bit of Gareth Bale into that is just going to be like mental. They could probably go for Europa League. Who knows, maybe even Champions League this season with just how good that is. Of course, they did sign Højbjerg from Southampton, Doherty from Wolves. Honestly though, 9th, probably a bit low, but who knows how that will actually pan out for Jose Mourinho and his team. Into 8th with Wolverhampton Wanderers. I feel that 8th is, yeah, it's a good enough position for them. I think they did finish 8th last season, I'm pretty sure. So 8th place for them. Who knows how that might go for them, because they did just sell one of their best players in Diego Jota to Liverpool for 45 million pounds, I think it was. And of course, like I did say, they did just sell Doherty as well, Matt Doherty. 8th place, who knows? I mean, it's quite close to Europa League and stuff like that, but just gotta wait and see how that pans out for them once again. Don't really have too much to say about them, I must be honest. 7th is Everton. They've had it for about 2 or 3 years, but they've been spending big, but not really been producing that much for them. Probably just about getting into Europa League, but nothing really to write home about, let's put it this way. But with their signings, particularly of James Rodriguez, even if he probably has lost his feet a bit, I mean, EA clearly think they do, giving him 53 pace in FIFA 21. I mean, that's just ridiculous, that is. They could probably push higher, probably 6th, maybe 5th, who knows, maybe even top 4. I mean, that team, apart from Pickford, who I do not rate at all, not for Everton, not for England even. 7th place, who knows, that could probably, that seems realistic, I'd say, for Everton, but I mean, James Rodriguez, who knows, he could probably push him up to 6th, maybe even 5th. Moving on to 6th though, with Leicester. Now Leicester have been building up slowly to have a slightly stronger squad. And despite the fact they did just sell Chilwell for 50 million to Chelsea, they did buy in that left back from Atalanta. A quality left back, did get a goal on his debut as well, so that shows just his attacking prowess and also how good he is defensively as well. So I feel as though 6th place for Leicester is quite respectable. Roy Hodgson, who knows, he can probably push them up to top 4. I mean, they are currently 1st after 2 games, so who knows, maybe Leicester fans are like, just leave her at that. Just leave it at that. We'll just take 1st place. But nah, to be fair, 6th place would be fairly impressive for them. They can give many teams good old running as well. So who knows what they could do anything this season, to be honest with you. 5th place is Arsenal. Mikel Arteta in his, was it like half a season he did manage Arsenal last season after Unai Emery got sacked, or maybe 3/4 of the season, I can't quite remember. But they did play. They've been incredible. I mean, David Luiz has been. He has his off days like anyone would. He's just he's transformed the team. He's managed to get Aubameyang signed a new contract, which is huge for Arsenal fans, and I'm pretty sure all of them are very happy about that. So 5th place, they could easily break into the top 4 if they carry on this momentum. Of course, they did just sign Gabriel Magalhaes from FC Nantes in Ligue 1. And he did get a debut goal. Willian got 3 assists, which is more than what Ozil got last season, which is just mind-blowing, completely mind-blowing. Hopefully Ozil gets a looking into the team as well. But 5th place for Arsenal does seem quite likely. 4th, Manchester United, probably being a little bit generous with them, because of course I did put Crystal Palace at 14th and Manchester United 10 places above them. I mean, after that performance, who knows? I mean, Bruno Fernandes without penalties, he's a bit sort of like B-Tech De Bruyne, let's put it nicely. Van der Beek, he could be quality, he could probably bring a bit more finesse, a bit more attack, and even a bit more defensive. He's looking to be more of like a box-to-box sort of player, so who knows how Man United will probably be. 4th place, probably a bit generous like I did mention. Who knows, maybe 5th, probably even 6th. It's probably a bit more realistic for them. 3rd place, Manchester City. I must be honest, looking at our squad, despite the fact we have signed Ferran Torres, which I'll be honest, before we did actually sign him, we were linked with him. Never heard of him, literally never heard of him. Nathan Ake we did sign, despite the fact he was a relegated player, and we did sign him for £41 million. His stats does show that he was Bournemouth's rather, best player for the past season, 2 seasons, maybe even 3 seasons. So 3rd place I feel as though it's looking realistic, particularly when you consider 2nd and 1st. 3rd seems a bit realistic. Who knows, Guardiola might just do something magical at Manchester City and just surprise everyone. I mean, it would surprise me if we were to finish 1st, let's put it that way. 2nd place though is Chelsea. Now Chelsea, despite the fact that, I was talking about this one time at work and someone did say that despite the fact they have signed really good players, there's not really much Premier League title challenging players within there. I mean, you look at Thiago Silva, never played in the Premier League. I think he's 35 now, so he's probably losing his pace a little bit and his physique. Chilwell as well, never really challenged for a Premier League title with Leicester City. Timo Werner, never played in the Premier League, and he said how hard it was to play in the Premier League against Brighton as well, against their big defenders. He said how much of a struggle it was to play against them. So 2nd place for Chelsea. I just feel as though they do have more of a, I'd say they probably got more of a stronger squad than Manchester City. Despite the fact I feel as though we got more squad depth, I still feel as though it will be a challenge against Chelsea. Even when they beat us last season, they did give us a good game last season in the game where, when they beat us, Liverpool were crowned Premier League champions. I just feel as though this season it's just not looking good with comparing Manchester City to Chelsea in my opinion. And that leaves 1st place, and it leaves a very sour taste in my mouth, and that is Liverpool. I mean, Thiago Alcantara, when he made his debut appearance for Liverpool, he only played 45 minutes, but he outplayed every Chelsea player in terms of passing. It was the best pass, I think it was our best successive pass race since stats were a thing back in 2003, I think it was, which is ridiculous, and he only played 45 minutes. He's going to be such a crucial player within that squad. And of course I did just sign Diego Jota as well. Just looking at our team, even though like I said I do believe we have more squad depth, that team is just, I'd say, with that momentum, they could go and do back-to-back titles. I'd hate to, like I say, I'd really hate to see it. I'd love to see Manchester City with the golden badge on our sleeves next season, but who knows this season? It's only just starting. Who knows how it will turn out for the next 36 games? Of course, Liverpool have played 2 games so far. We've played none. Yeah, that's just my opinion. So I feel as though Liverpool will win the Premier League and the teams get relegated. Fulham, West Brom and Aston Villa. But that's how I'm going to wrap it up. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you did, make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you are new as well. Let me know your thoughts on my predictions in the comments down below, and let me know your thoughts as to who you think, like I said, will get relegated, where your favourite team will finish in the table, and who will probably get into Europe or even win the title itself. Thanks for watching, but until next time, I'll see you lot in a bizzle.